What's going on, anglers? Alex here. So the very first video we uploaded to the channel was a how to spool your spinning reel video, and it wasn't done entirely correctly. Now, this video was uploaded 5 years ago. I was naive. I'll claim ignorance. So we're gonna try to do an update video. Obviously, since it's been 5 years and we got the channel back finally, I kind of wanted to redo that video, but we're gonna do it with braided line this time. I've got a Pflueger President spinning reel here that I've just recently gotten. It's brand new out of the box, no line on it yet. I wanted to get some line on it, so I figured I'd show you guys how to do it. Basically, all you're gonna need, just a little bit of electrical tape. I got this from the store for like 30 cents, something like that. Super cheap. Some braided line and an empty spool for your reel. Now, you don't need to do like the pencil method or anything like that, like I did in the previous video. You just need to lay the spool flat on the ground and reel it onto the reel the way that the spool is spinning. So we're gonna try to do that correctly. I'll show you a little bit of close-ups on how to do that, and let's get right into it. Alright, so I went ahead and took the spool off of the reel, and the reason that I'm going to do that is because I'm going to put some of that electrical tape onto the reel to keep this braided line from slipping. So the difference basically between monofilament and braided line is that the mono is going to grip your reel a lot better. Braided line is going to tend to slip. Now, some people like to put a monofilament backing on the reel, but this reel isn't huge, so I don't want to take up a lot of the reel space with the monofilament. I just want to get a nice full spool of braided line on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the electrical tape and I'm going to wrap it around the interior of the spool, and that's going to give the braided line something to grip onto. So let's do that real quick. I went ahead and clipped off a piece of clipped off a piece of electrical tape here. Alright, so we're going on the interior of the spool here, and I'm going to lay that electrical tape on the inside there. Be careful not to get it on the edges of the spool, only the center. And just spin around there. Boom, just like that. We've got a nice layer of electrical tape on the inside of our spool. And then we can put it back on the reel, and we'll start from there. Alright, so we've got the spool back on the reel. Now we're going to go ahead and tie the line on and start spooling up. But you want to open the bail first, and then you want to start to tie your line on. Alright guys, so to attach the line to the spool itself, we're just going to do a couple simple overhand knots, tighten those to the reel, and then we'll start spooling it onto the reel. So we're just going to do a simple overhand knot here. Come back up through the hole that you create with my big fat fingers. Slide that once tight to the reel there. Go back through the hole again, create another overhand knot, and cinch that all the way down to the reel there. And there we go. Now you can see how that's tight onto the reel there. Sorry. You can see how that's tight. It's not moving back and forth. You just simply put your finger in there and slide it down. And now, if you made the mistake of doing this without the bail open, all you need to do is to unscrew this on the top there, take the spool off, open the bail, and then put the spool back on, and then you'd be good to go. But just make sure you have the bail open when you do that. Alright, so we've got that on there. I'm going to trim this little edge piece off here, and then we'll start spooling it on. Alright guys, so we've got our line attached to the spool here. Now we're going to get right into getting it put on. But before we do that, I want to explain the most complicated part of the whole process. And in my first spinning reel video I did this actually probably not the best way you can do it. I'm going to show you the best way to do it now and the best way to think about it. So with this spool here, right, if I was to take a little bit of line off and then to put this line back onto the spool, I would need to go in a clockwise direction here to put this back onto the spool. Now, think about the way that your spinning reel is going. So if I'm going to reel my spinning reel here, my spinning reel is going to turn in that same clockwise direction, which means that I have it going the correct way. Now, a lot of people get confused because the way that the line is coming off of this is in a counterclockwise direction, but you want it to attach to both things the same direction. That's the way it makes sense to me. And if for whatever reason this isn't working for you and you're getting twist, all you need to do is flip your spool over and you should have no twist. So let's get right into spooling it up. Now, I've actually got a little bit of the electrical tape on my finger where I'm going to be holding the line, because the braided line is a little bit abrasive. And it can cut your finger if you do it too hard or too fast. So I just put that on there as like a little piece of protection. So let's get straight into it here. We've got our line. It's going to be sitting on the table face down. Now I'm going to take the reel itself, grab some of the line. I'm going to run up the rod just a little bit and pinch it between my finger and the rod right up here. Now you want to have some tension in your line. You want to have some good tension in your line here because you want it to go on nice and smooth. So we're going to come straight onto the reel here, try to get some layers going first. Once you get those first few layers on, everything becomes a lot easier. So now we've got a couple layers onto the reel, going at a nice slow steady pace, keeping good tension. It's coming off of the spool and onto our reel. Now I can even feel it getting a little warm in between my fingers because, like I said, there's a little bit of an abrasiveness with this. But if you look real quickly and you do like this with your line, you give it some slack, you'll see that it's still super straight, no twist, it's not coming off my reel. That means we're doing it correctly. So I'm gonna put the rest of this line on, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. All right, I finished putting the line onto the reel. I want to show you about when you need to stop on the reel itself. You should give yourself about an 1/8 inch or 1/16 inch gap on the reel here. You don't want to go all the way to the edge. That could cause problems with your line slipping, creating wind knots, that sort of thing. So you want to stop right about there. All right, guys, that's pretty much how you do it. That's all you got to do. The line is nice and tight onto the reel. You want to make sure it's not super squishy. You want to make sure it's nice and tight. That means you did it correctly. No line twist, no line hanging over the edge of the reels, anything like that. You should be good to go. I hope this tutorial was better than the last one. I know I messed up a little bit on the first one, but forgive me, that was 5 years ago and I had warts all over my hand, right? So made it kind of unbearable to watch, according to a lot of you. So I hope this new one was much better for you, and subscribe if you liked it. If it helped you, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.